Okay, I'm going to try and lead you through this wall design process so that there's a video that kind of help, hopefully. I am going to take this wall right here, so from corner to corner, and I'm going to make a design for it based on the information that's here. If I were doing this house, I would make this whole side one wall, so one piece of paper, and I have large graph paper, 11 by 17, that you can use. This might be hard being one piece. I might have to have one piece here, and I might need to do some bending of a piece for that and then come around here. This could definitely be one piece here, and then maybe I'd have to have some separate pieces here, and this down here could be one piece. Okay, so I'm going to have to figure out how long this wall is. And it looks like it's 7.5 inches. Remember, every inch is 4 feet. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to have to measure 7.5 inches. And I think I'll do it from the corner so I don't use a lot of paper. So now this is 7.5 inches long. And now I need to think about, well, if I'm looking at the wall from the side here, right, this side view thing, how tall is it going to be? So let's assume this group decided that their ceilings were going to be 10 feet tall. Okay, so I counted up 10 squares because it's 10 feet tall, and it's 7.5 inches here, which would be 7 times 4 is 28, 29, 30 squares. So now I have, this is the wall. So now I got to figure out what I'm doing with these windows. Over here, it looks like 3 feet in, there's a window that's going to start, and the window itself is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet wide. It's going to start 3 feet above the bottom. So if I come over here, I'm going to have to go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be the bottom left corner of the window. We said it's 6 feet wide, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. And then if I look over here, they want the window itself to be 4 feet tall. So I come over here, and I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the top corners of the window. So I'm using a ruler to draw in my lines now. And let's see if this makes sense. So the window on the left, right, is 3 feet up. And then it starts and it's 4 feet tall. And then there's the middle window, and then there's a window on the right. And see how they kind of follow the directions. So now I'm going to cut them out. So I cut around the edge, and actually to cut this middle piece here, I'm just going to cut in the side and then go around, because this is just like a pattern. Way back when, some of you may know this, people used paper patterns for clothing. In fact, they still do, but not as many people make their own clothes these days. But we're going to use this as a pattern for our wall cutting. So you can see I've cut through the edge, but I've tried to cut my windows carefully, being as precise as I can. So now this is kind of what we would expect to see right here. So now let's see how we're going to turn this into a wall. So I've taken this kind of pattern and I've just made dots in the corners of the windows and the corners of here. And notice that I put my graph right in the corner of this cardstock. That way I don't waste very much of it. So there's dots there. And now I'm actually going to use a ruler to connect the dots so I have nice straight lines. Okay, so now I used a ruler to make my lines, and I actually have my cardstock wall that I'm going to cut out now. I'm going to use scissors to cut out the outline of the wall, and then I'm going to use a blade to cut the inner windows. Okay, so I've cut out the outline, and now I'm going to use a ruler, and I'm going to use one of these. I like using these. We also have X-Acto knives. I like that this has a nice kind of something I can grip onto. You can also, if you don't want to do that, you can use scissors just to cut in the edge and then cut around and just tape this little bit back up, which is not that big of a deal either. Of course, whenever we're using things that are sharp, you need to be very, very careful. So now I use the blade, and there's these bits that I can now pull out. And now I have my wall. So now it's a little flimsy. It needs some supports. So I'll be making another video that shows you how you're going to include balsa. So on the inside wall of the house, now this is the same either way. On the inside wall of the house, I'm going to cut balsa that is the length of the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to make some supports that go on the ends and then on either side of the windows, and we'll be using Elmer's glue to glue them in place. And then your whiteboards have cork on the back of them, so you'll be able to pin into the cork so that they dry flat.